Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Carlton People. It has been a while. We haven't had many episodes done in season 2022. We've started the season well. I kind of wanted to make sure that the turnaround was real before I started bringing these back. Now, I've got Darcy Ballard with me. Maybe I'll let him tell you where he's from. Brother, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. I've been watching for a long time now, so it's a pleasure to be on. From the 100K podcast, me and a few mates, we try and win 100 grand every week off about 10, 15 bucks. What started as a very small thing from us just putting on some NFL bets. We end up getting together every week and rolled on from NFL season into our main love, which is AFL. And it's just sort of grown. And we love the Blues and sort of put out some content, obviously, about the Blues. And you've seen it. We sort of got along and obviously found a mutual friend in between that anyway. So we thought we'd get on and have a bit of a chat about the Blues.
100%. Mate, I'm not going anywhere further with this chat until we talk about the jacket you've got on.
Yes. So
I need to know the story.
So I've got one of the boys from the footy club, Jared Peake, shout out. He's about 6'7", 6'8", and I'm 5'6" on a good day. And him, his old man, and all their friends had like all these and like the full tracksuit and stuff. And he comes up to me one day at training. He's like, "Hey mate, I've got a jacket. You might want it. It's sitting in my cupboard." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So he brings it to footy training, and I'm like, "Mate, what do you want for it?" He's like, "Just have it." He's like, "It just sits in our cupboard. It doesn't fit any of us." I reckon every time I go to a game, I get offered like 3 people come up to me and ask for money. Some guy said, "Name your prize." And he said like 200, 250, 350. I'm like, if I give you the jacket, I've got 350, but then I don't have a jacket. So
Never, ever give that thing away. That thing is unreal.
I know at the back as well. Like it's elite.
Wow. What do you know what year it's from?
I have no idea actually.
I feel like it's 94, 95. I really feel like
around there. Probably be somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Judging off the sponsors, but like I think that was one of the last years that we had Adidas, and then it went across to I think Nike from there. So no, it's in perfect condition. Like he literally had it and it just sat in his cupboard for like 20 years. So
all right, maybe we can talk. Maybe we can talk after this and see if there's any more floating around. Mate, we start this series the same way every time. I just want to know. We want to know, how'd you become a Carlton supporter, and how did it all happen?
So I guess like most Carlton, I guess people, it's either usually your mum or dad that's a Carlton supporter. So dad was a big Carlton supporter, so he sort of drip fed that down to us from a young age. So we never really had a choice. I was never really like super into it. Played Oz kick for a little bit, and then obviously started footy when I was 8 as a bottom age. And I genuinely don't reckon I would have got a kick for the first 2 years. Like I was just sitting there kicking dew off the grass, just being a part of it. So I wasn't really around till probably around under 10s that I really started getting into it. Got me first jersey and I was absolutely hooked. I mean, I guess we didn't really have too much to cheer about then anyway. So anyway, I got me jersey. I've actually got it here. So it's my first one.
Oh, wow.
Number 25. So obviously you can tell my favorite player of all time was Fev. And then my little brother did Little Athletics just up the road, and he was the same age as Fev's eldest daughter, Mia, I believe. So Fev would be there pretty much every week. And mum's like, go talk to him. I'm like, no, I can't. I'm too nervous. So got me jersey. She put the 25 on the back. The next week I went up to him. Hey, Fev, do you mind if I get a photo and an autograph? Best bloke of all time. And then he asked mum, hey, do you mind if I just have a chat with him? Literally took me for a walk for 5 to 10 minutes and was pretty much asking me questions. It was like, hey, where do you play? What position? I'm like, I'd love to be a full forward, obviously pretty small. So that's not going to be the case. And like was literally asking me questions. How do you reckon the Blues are going to go this year? And I'll never, ever forget that. Like literally one of the best blokes I've ever met. So no matter what anyone says about him, that first impression always got. Fev was an absolute legend. So he was and will always be my favorite player of all time.
That is crazy. It's actually, and it goes to show like 5 minutes of their time for a kid. Like for us, when we're little kids and they're our heroes and we don't know any better, we don't look at them as human beings. We look at them as superheroes because they're big and strong and fast and all of that. 5 minutes of time literally makes a lifetime of difference. Like your kids, they'll be Carlton supporters now. Like that's it.
Oh, 100%. But especially him when he was back then, like he was like, what, 108, 110 kegs. Like massive. And like I was just so scared. And then like he was literally the nicest person of all time. And the fact that he was just like, yeah, took me for a walk for about 5 to 10 minutes, and I'll never ever forget it.
That's so cool. So, well, I mean, I was gonna ask like who was your first hero, but I guess that's him.
Oh, Fev, hands down. So then, I mean, like, how could you not? I mean, back then we were getting absolutely slapped. And the fact that you'd literally rock up and he'd kick 8 goals every game. And it was just like on the back of him. And it was just, even like back then, like, what was that list? Like Ian Prendergast, Adrian DeLuca. And that was actually the biggest thing, because I'm not sure if you obviously played footy as well.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So obviously when you're younger, back when you had like the woolen jerseys, the numbers were obviously for the smaller guys. And then obviously if you were bigger, you got the bigger number. So I always wanted 25, but I was too small. So I got number 3 and I was like, perfect. Let's have a look who I've got. Digby Morrell. So I wasn't too happy with Digby Morrell. But once we got Murph, I was a bit happier with the number 3. But no, I wasn't a fan of Digby.
Nah, not at all. Those were that's the thing. A special thing about the club, because like I'm 31. I don't really remember the 90s. I don't remember the grand final. I don't remember 99 really. It's really early 2000s where it starts kicking in. And I knew we were shit, but there's just something else about the club that there's this like family spirit. It's just different.
Well, my first real memories of footy was like the first like the Brisbane Collingwood grand finals. I literally don't remember a Carlton game till 2005 Wizard Cup, Carlton West Coast. Blues win by I think about 17 points. Fev kicks 8 goals. Like I remember it like clear as day. I reckon I think Etihad was like packed, and the Blues are going off, like the Blues are back, and we end up going 4-1 and 17, and then just finishing on bottom, and just like another terrible season. And that was pretty much the start of it. I think we had the They Know We're Coming campaign for about 5 years, and we finished on bottom every year. So it was just disappointment, but old man just said, mate, stick fat. Trust me, you're going to be in for some good times. And it's not until now. So he's had to wait about another 20 years.
Yeah. Well, I usually talk about the rebuild from 2005, the Murphy, Gibbs, Judd sort of era. But because, with this series, honestly, like we've been shit. We've been disappointing. This is one of the first Carlton People episodes that I've done where we're going to talk about the group
Good
now
times.
and like where they're at. And it's like, oh shit. So let's get into it. Like what has happened and how have you gone on your journey with like where we're at right now? Like, did you believe early in the piece? Did you believe last year, the year before? Like talk to me about
I'm a very optimistic person. I'll literally come into every game, baggers, we've got it. Like super every year we're playing finals. Like last year, I'd literally put like nuts on the line. I'm like, this is it. If we don't make finals this year, it's an absolute fight. And I don't think I've ever been more disappointed that I think it was our last game, Carlton Port, where Port piled on 17 in a row. I'm just like, what are we doing? So I don't know, like I feel we have the pieces. Like I think a lot of other people, we just need a little bit of health to get back. And it just feels like it's a curse every time. Like McGovern goes back down. Pitneck goes down. Harry, we thought was down. We thought Wiedering was going to be out for the season, but he's come back. So the talent's there. And like, it's good to see that Cripper's obviously been able to stay and come through. But no, I'm always very optimistic I genuinely think we're going to win every game. So no, then even this week, I genuinely think we're going to roll Geelong. Very confident.
Yeah, no, I'm the same as you. I've always been an optimist. I think last year definitely got to me just towards the end because it was like, all right, 2020, whatever, COVID year. I know 2021 was still kind of a COVID year, but yeah, you just sort of said it there. Like we have the pieces. They're all there. It's like we didn't need anything else. We just needed them to, I don't know, like, what do you think it was? Was it maturity? Was it the coaching? Was it a bit of all?
So inconsistency, but you look at the midfield, like the grunt work, like we had, no offense, but like Petrevski, Seaton, Setterfield playing inside, like those two guys in the mid where you can shift them out and then you get Hewitt and Chera. So 2 guys that can win it at the source, use it really well, release other guys. Like now that we've got Doc back, that he's been able to pretty much, he's just like a fifth on baller. We get the ball, win most of it, just attack straight off the half back line. And then being able to the freedom we start. I think he's actually defending a lot more. I felt last year sort of just play off Zach Williams as well. So obviously still got him to come back in. I just think it's more time under the belt with these guys. Like we're a very young side. And I just think as a coach, like how can you not respect Vossi, like 3-time premiership captain, like have someone like that. I feel with Cripps, like someone that's had a lot on his shoulders, you cannot have literally a better person to come in and sort of shape the way that he wants to play of Fossey. And you can tell with everyone, like they come in and they look him straight in the eye. And I'm the same. When I watch him walk out, I get fired up. So
Yeah.
I just think it's more time together as a team and just sort of putting the games together. And I think not even this year, like I hope for good things this year, but over the next 2-3 years, I reckon we're really going to hit our straps.
Yeah. I feel like this is year one of the good times, and you hope that the window opens up for, like, 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, unless we do something that like what Geelong are doing and just keep revolving the door and stay relevant. But yeah, it's exciting. Before I go forward, I want to go back one more time. What's your most like favorite Carlton moment of all time, or game, or era, or situation? Like, when have you been at your happiest?
Probably this year, to be honest.
Wow.
Like just with the amount of games that we go to, like the first game that, mind you, it's not even a big game. I'm pretty sure it was round 8, 2016 or 17. We're versus Port Adelaide, and we're down by 17 points with about 7 minutes to go. And we pulled back. Cruiser kicked a massive goal. And that was the first time I've ever seen Carlton come back, like ever. I've seen us like draw heaps and just constantly we're in these battles and we always lose. But this year, like just being able to run over the top of sides has been, I've never had more fun. And obviously since COVID, being able to go back to all the footy games. Unfortunately, we don't put sides away. So I have heart attacks. I was at the Hawthorn game, the Port Adelaide game, Collingwood game, couldn't put them away. But I've genuinely never enjoyed footy more than I have this year. Just being able to go to games and feel like we're in it and we're not just pacing back in the middle of the pack from 8 to the bottom end. Like we're actually fighting for top spots and you can see the boys playing really well. So probably now, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like my mum was a Carlton supporter and she was the only Carlton supporter in the family. And she used to tell me, they're the best. They're always winning. You have cousins and family members and, fans from the past telling you, and I'm sure your dad was the same. Like, you just wait. Exactly. We were the best. We just knew we were going to win. But until you see it, you haven't seen it, and
exactly.
You hope that now it's kind of like, all right, we've gone from can't win to save our lives to now we're kind of, maybe early in the year we were falling over the line a little bit. Now it's starting to look a little bit more structured. What's the ceiling for the group, do you think?
For this season?
Or just the group in general, yeah.
Well, I genuinely feel when I think about where we are, I almost feel like we're on the cusp of pushing through, almost like Geelong were in probably like 2005. Remember when they lost the prelim to when Nick Davis kicked the goals? Like they had a pretty good season, but they were just sort of there about. And then you had the West Coast Sydney that pushed through, and then from 2000 onwards, they just pushed straight through. I think who was coaching the Cats at the time then? What's his name? Oh, his name goes. I can't remember. Anyway, he was like literally just playing all the kids just constantly. He's just like, just get them, get games under their belt, just go, go, go. And I just feel like that's where we're at. And we're just sort of getting like, even like O'Brien and Cottrell, I've been like very harsh critics on them. Their last month has been great. So I think it's just giving these guys a little bit more time. Our ceiling, I genuinely reckon we could win a couple of flags in the next 5 years. And like, even this season, I think shoot for prelim. I still think we make top 4. I went through and did the rest of the year. I think we just make the 4. I easily reckon we can win a prelim. We got genuinely 5 A graders.
Yeah.
5, 6 A graders. Like no other team has that amount. And I can just reckon the boys up forward will just give headaches to defenders.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. So when you look at this season, and like at the time of filming this, it's just before round 18, 2022, for those who are watching months or years ahead, who would you say has been our most improved player? Because a lot of them have really pulled the finger out.
Most improved. We just got guys that have come out of the dark. Like DeConing's come out of the dark. Like I just thought he would just be like a tall, lanky guy. I never thought that Doherty would get back to where he was. Who else I reckon just improved a lot? I just genuinely think just a team thing. Like I remember, when you like draft the number 1 draft pick and you sort of think, oh, these guys will be like, who would have thought Wiedering would have been the player he was? I genuinely don't reckon I've seen a better one-on-one game than Carlton versus Sydney this year. Were you there?
I was there.
Like genuinely did not lose a contest. And like I think he's our most valuable player. Like
I totally agree.
I genuinely think him in that side, like if we had him that whole Collingwood game, we win. I don't care what anyone says. Like the amount of time the ball comes in and you're like, fuck, they're going to mark, boom, just sticks his hands up, spoils, literally just doesn't lose one-on-ones. So I just think as a collective, everyone, but I did not think that Wiedering would have been this good. Like I think apart from probably Tom Stewart, he's the best defender in the AFL.
Yeah. No, it is cool. It's cool to see them finally get to that point in their careers where they're no longer the babies of the competition. They're, older than 40% of the competition now.
Yeah.
And I guess that's where the patience had to come from. We had to wait. And because we drafted so many of them in such a short amount of time and year after year, and, the leaders that we had, Murphy was there, obviously, Simo was there, Cruiser was there. Then it was like Casbolt, Gibbs obviously leaves, Doherty gets hurt, Charlie gets hurt. Just kind of had to sit it out, and you just get this feeling that this is it now, and it's going to be like this for a while.
Actually, I reckon probably my most improved, and he's probably my favorite player, Jack Silvani.
Yeah,
genuinely, you can't tell me that he hasn't had the hardest role in football in the last 3 years. The high half forward at Carlton with terrible targets coming into him and then pinch hitting in the ruck. Yep. He's genuinely, I don't care what, he's tough as nails, and he literally does anything for the team. Like, and he's a gun. He's a genuine gun. I'm pretty sure there's a stat that came out. The top 3 marks inside 50 this year from Elite. It's Cameron 1, Hawkins 2, Silvani 3.
Wow, that's crazy. That is a crazy stat.
He's a gun. Like, he's the heart and soul. And you see, like, when you're at game, when he kicks a goal or marks it, everyone goes nuts. So, he'd probably have to be my most improved.
Okay, I like it. Mate, let's talk a bit about you. You spoke about the potty. I came across you. Yeah, I just was watching the content. I saw the content. I saw the energy in the content, and I can tell really easily when someone's being genuine and they're genuinely enjoying what they're doing and they're not being like fake, because there's a lot of people that put on when it comes to the content game. There was one video you made which it's the best thing. It's one of the best things I've seen. It's you're wearing the jacket. It's the video on Fev. There's the background music, and I was like, "Fuck, this guy's cool." So, how did the pod start? What's the story? And how have you enjoyed the game?
So we started off right before the NFL season. Like, we love AFL and NFL. Like mad supporters. Been over the States a few times. Got to see some really good games. Do you follow the NFL?
I follow for like 2 rounds, and then I watch the Super Bowl, and that's it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've been over, done a few trips, like 10-day trips, and we'll catch a game every day. College, tailgate, and go do all that stuff. Like, we absolutely love it. That and basketball. So me and a few mates, so we just obviously, me, Jeff, Morgs, we started off with, we'd just get together, pretty much just put our bets together. We'd come with a book of bets on a Sunday arvo, and then we'd just try and put them together to try and win $100,000. The whole idea is we're not trying to outlay like millions of dollars. It's just pretty much $10 a week between us, and then to try and win $100,000. And then a lot of the other boys don't know much about the NFL. So like, oh, can you give us what you're getting on? And then Morgs is like, well, we may as well just record an episode, and just like, he's like, oh, who for? It's like, it's just our mates. Who cares? And so we just sort of kept building up on that. And sort of just kept growing organically. We had a Super Bowl party. So we had about 50, 60 guys rock up. We had about 10, 12 random guys rock up. They just saw the invite online and then came. So we sort of had that. And we're just sort of starting to grow organically, and then put bets out. We started to put some stuff on TikTok. And then, as I mentioned before, like, it literally just blew up on a few bets. So we made a couple of calls being like, oh, this player's 100%, he's going to kick a goal next week. And then happened to kick a goal. And then just sort of, it just grew from there. But it's genuinely my favorite time of the week. We get together every Friday night, go over our bets, and record the pod and just have a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, man, it's such a fascinating world we live in, and the more and more down the rabbit hole we get, the more and more normal it becomes. Like, I still remember, finished high school, went to uni, did whatever I was doing, started working full time, and then like I was watching this internet thing happen, and I was watching like podcasts and YouTube channels, and I was like, like I really want a piece of this. And I remember sort of getting involved in it and starting the podcast, and then kind of fast forward now, like, this is all so normal. Like, this is all just like, it's a totally different world. How have you, like, what's your observations of like the way it all works?
Well, I guess none of us were. I guess a lot of people are like really nervous to do stuff. Like we never were. Like we genuinely, if there's something that we love, it's sport. So we have no problem talking about sport, and we love having a bit of a bet. So even going from that, so I think the biggest thing is just starting. Like once we just start putting it out, and we just keep putting. Like not everything's going to hit that we put out there, but it's just genuine content, and like we enjoy it. And it's something that we would really want to do long term. We think there's a really big market for it. I guess here in Australia, there's not too many people like doing it. And we just enjoy what we're doing, and yeah, we'll keep doing it, and we'll just see where it grows from here. So yeah, no, it's a crazy, it's a very bizarre thing. Like as I said, TikTok, I have no idea how it works. Like we put some things out there, and it just goes bonkers. So,
Yeah.
but no, we're enjoying it.
I reckon if I didn't leave Australia, I would not have started doing any of this because there was that fear. We have a really different culture here, and I don't know what it is. I felt like that tall poppy syndrome sort of coming in. If you were recording yourself, if you were behind a camera, you know, you were sort of looked at as being arrogant. At the end of the day, it was really I was caring too much what people thought. And
Exactly.
I think you touched on it just then. Like, find what you actually love to talk about, and you can just talk about it organically. Like we're not scripted right now. I haven't sent you any questions. We're just talking off the cuff.
Yeah.
But when you talk about something you genuinely love, there is now this reality where you can build a community around it. It's crazy.
100%. And the best thing for us, obviously, is being like big sports fans. There's always going to be content to talk about. Like you've got this week, then you can review, then you can preview. We go to this. And then there's all other sports that you can constantly go with. So it's never ending. So as long as you really enjoy what you're doing and stick time at it, like, as you said, like when you started, I don't think you ever thought that you'd be doing like something like this, interviewing what you interview players. You had Brian Cook on, like pretty crazy to see how far it's come. And then same with us, like we just sort of gradually started at a mate's house, like with a curtain in the background, and we got a sign made. So got some microphones. So everything's just starting to get bigger and bigger, and it's good. And like we genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm very confident in saying someone will come and pick you up. You just know, like I don't know. I have this feeling about it. Let's go back to the Blues. So, it looks like we're going to play finals for the first time in years.
2013, I think.
Yeah, run me through walking up to the MCG and playing finals football again. Like, what's that? What goes through your mind?
I'm usually a pretty even keel person. Like I'm pretty up and about. I genuinely, when I go to a football game, I go through a million emotions. I'm swearing, I'm sweating, I'm up and down. But I genuinely just to finish the final round and just to know that we're in the buzz that whole week. Especially if we get to play every game in Melbourne, it is going to be like chockers to try and get a ticket. The Carlton faithful are going to come out in full force. I actually don't know. It would just feel like a grand final, every single one, especially with the weather getting a bit better, it gets a bit warmer. You get real giddy. I'm just genuinely so excited.
The roar.
If we win a final, leaving that Carlton Sydney game, everyone was singing the Carlton song for like from the start of the game, like end of the ground, like to the train station. And it genuinely felt like a final. So God knows what it's going to be like when we actually win one. It's going to be great. I genuinely think about it every day.
It's crazy because like we've dreamt about it, and now it's like just being relevant. Like put winning a premiership to the side for a moment, but just dreaming about them being good again and playing in blockbuster matches again and being relevant, fighting for top 4, all of that. Now it's kind of here, and like I don't really know how to do it, like what to say, what to feel, because it's like it's so new to me.
Yeah, I agree. And you still think in the back of your mind, you're like, oh, are we going to shit the bed the next 6 games and drop out of the 8, or we just do a Carlton thing? But it just definitely feels different this year. You can just tell we're getting the boys back. It's just everything's just starting to align a little bit. We just need to just put it together. That's why I hope this week. I reckon this is going to be the week that we really crunch the teeth in. Almost like Melbourne last year, that last game of the year against Geelong, 6 goals down. Like just something that you can really bite your teeth into come finals to be like, all right, that was a game that we can stamp ourselves. And good thing we got a couple of them. We got them, Brisbane, Melbourne, Collingwood again. So just take care of those, or like just even if we split those and we beat who we got, Adelaide and someone else, we get through them. I reckon just watch out.
I love it. I've got 2 more questions for you. So first one is, do you have like a you mentioned your favorite player, but do you have like a young player or maybe someone that's a little underrated now that's going to come up in the next few years that you got your eye on?
I love Durden.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved. I think he's our best small forward. I reckon he's better than Owies. He's just super athletic. Reads it really well. He's been on that, like, he just missed a few goals here and there, but I reckon he's like so fast. Pressure, gets to front and centers really well, just really clean. I reckon he's one that will be there for a long time.
I think so too. Yeah. He kind of, because he can play up the ground. It's like, is he going to become like a Boomer Harvey type? Like, I don't know. He's just
that's a good comparison. Well, he could be one of those guys, he starts there and he could play more midfield minutes. Like, I know, I just see him as like, he just moves really well.
Yeah.
So, and like on both sides of his feet, he's very clean. I reckon it's all going to click. Like, he could definitely be one of those players. He'll kick 4 or 5 goals just out of packs. Almost like a Jared Blair, but better.
Yeah. Final question. When are we going to lift up the cup? What is the year that it's going to be?
I'd love to say this year, but if not, I've been saying all year Blues 22, so why not? Why not this year?
You're the first person. You're the first one.
Why not?
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. May as well.
Yeah.
Just run this. If the Doggies can win one in 2016, going at West Coast, Hawthorn, then GWS, then the Swans, then why not us?
100. Man, I'm with you. Like any team in the competition right now, usually you get to this point in the year and there's like the clear best team. It's not so clear right now. There's question marks on everyone, even us. But like, there's question marks on the D's. There's question marks on the Lions playing in Melbourne.
Massive on Brisbane.
Yeah.
I genuinely, we can beat every side on our day. I know we can. It's that win against Richmond, round 1, like 4 or 5 goals, like just to see that, and we can score so quickly. It's just, it's scary,
mate.
So why not? Flaggers 2022. Let's go.
I love it. I love it, mate. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for taking out the time. I've really enjoyed this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
No worries, brother. Go Blues.
Go the back.